Yeah, of all the dimensions of unreasonable leader, self-confidence is the most important. You know, if you don't have that confidence in yourself, that realizing that you are a unique person, that there's only one of you, and actually there'll only be one of you for all of eternity, that you can and should make a difference. And once you believe that you have that, and it's somewhat spiritual, that you are a unique individual and that God gave you a certain set of skills and talents and gifts, and once you realize that, and you realize that it's your job to realize what those gifts are and improve upon them, and you build that self-confidence, that's the first major step from becoming an unreasonable leader. A desire to win and to win big is something that is a characteristic of a unreasonable leader. There's a difference, I say in the book, there's a difference between expecting to win and refusing to lose. One of the character traits of an unreasonable leader is to really challenge the status quo. And quite frankly, to an unreasonable leader, there is no such thing as a status quo. And so bringing about change, bringing about transformational change, either with, you know, for yourself, for your people, or for your organization, is something that I think is critically important. I always say it's much easier to teach new skills than it is to teach a whole new value system and character traits. So I always think about hiring character first and competence second. Well, no one ever accomplishes anything by themselves, and so, you know, teamwork is critical in any organization. When you get people that put their hearts and their minds together and they pull in the same direction, you can accomplish a lot more than you have when people are pulling apart, or if someone's trying to do something all on their own. So teamwork is a critical component. People will rise to the expectations that you set for them. You set them low, they'll achieve them. You set them high, they'll also achieve them. I always say that rules without relationship equals rebellion. So you can have rules, or you can have a game plan, a vision of what you want to accomplish, but you've got to have the connection with your team and with the people that believe in what the rules are, or you'll have rebellion. So many people are afraid to take on the establishment, if you will, or the way things have been done, just because it's hard. And I think you need to really work on your courage to be able to stand up and speak out and be bold on what it is that you want to change. And if you muster up that courage and are successful at getting things changed, that's how progress is made. Work ethic is extremely important. I say that anybody that thinks that they can accomplish great things without a strong work ethic is naive. It's important to have all the facts, and you certainly don't want to be a person that is ready, fire, aim, but by the same token, you can't talk things on forever. At some point, once you gather all the facts, you've asked all the right questions, and you have all the data that you need, then it's time to make a decision. Because not to decide is to decide. You can't hold people accountable unless you empower them, right? So you need to give people the room to be somewhat flexible on how you approach a particular issue, solve a particular problem. You've got to empower people to be able to do what works for them and then hold them accountable. You as a leader won't be able to build trust in your people if you're not open. And the more open you are, the more people will tell you, the more people will open up to you, and the more that you'll be able to build that relationship and that connection. People sometimes think as leaders that they can't get too close to their subordinates, that they can't get down into the organization and they keep this sort of status of being where they are. I disagree with that. I think the more open you are, the more people will tell you, and the more open you are, the more committed people will be. There's time to act. When we decided to take the company national, it was absolutely clear to me and to others that if we didn't take the company national, that we would face our own demise. So sometimes a sense of urgency, I believe urgency is important for our education system today. We don't have another 25 years to sit idly by and watch our kids not get educated. So we have to be urgent with it. The emotional intelligence is being able to read people's emotions and how they really do feel, not being stoic, to really understand how to organize and fit in with people or a team emotionally. And sometimes people at the top don't understand that that's critically important, that you have that, what I call emotional intelligence. Sometimes an unreasonable leader can be a little bit too skeptical, and so we have to understand that. And weaknesses aren't bad, by the way, as long as you know that you have them. And if you have them, that you can either guard against them, work to improve them, or to find other people in the organization that can fill the gap. The opposite of being decisive is to be overly cautious and making sure that you want to have all the facts and all the data, and making sure that you can mobilize the organization around what you're trying to do. Sometimes you can drag your feet a little bit. I think most leaders sometimes are overly cautious on making personnel changes. If you talk to most leaders, they'll tell you that they wish they would have acted quicker on making a change with a particular person in the organization. I think being bold, is very important. It has to be, well thought out. You have to have that connection and that trust and make sure that people understand where you're going. But you want to make sure that it's not overly bold and you set the expectations so high that you can never reach them. The way I look at unreasonable leadership is you've got a mind that's always racing, always thinking, always trying to figure out how to accomplish a goal, how to come up with a solution to a problem. Sometimes, you have to make sure that you put somewhat of a limit on that creativity, because you can be maybe too far out of the box. So getting out of the box is good, but getting too far out of the box is unhealthy. If you're too creative and you're trying to solve the problem too creatively, perhaps you're out of somewhat of the reality zone, and people can kind of look at you like you maybe are a little aloof. So yeah, that would be a weakness that you want to guard against.